Gashamaniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Welcome back to the Geo Gearheads, episode 457. I'm Daryl W4, back as usual with Chris of the Northwest.
Hey, Daryl, good to be back. I love Thursday nights.
Well, and especially when it's a randomize.
Ooh, even
a
better.
randomize CII.
We are so
Well, wait, maybe that's a little too many eyes because it's only 2 eyes.
2 eyes?
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Well, yeah, we have enough. But C is too many eyes. See? I don't know.
No, Captain II. That's 2 eyes.
Yeah, and we've got a special guest tonight to help us get derailed. Scott, welcome back to the show.
Hello, boys. How are you?
Yeah. I don't think anyone will argue that we need help being derailed after listening to the last couple shows. But I figured, you know what? I was just in Chicago for 3 days on work. I didn't even get to a Portillo's, which is something I always try to do. And
Hello, you were here.
no. Well, and I was warned last time I was in town, which was about a month ago, that I probably shouldn't go to the Portillo's closest to the loop because they'd been having some.
Is the one closest to the loop? I'm trying to think of where
They said the name and I can't remember it, but they're like, yeah, there was rioting over there about a week ago, so you might not want to head down there.
Did you get the Luminati's at least? Get some deep dish or anything? Did you do that?
No.
Dude.
The office.
So let's just get the report card here. You didn't call me.
No.
You didn't go to Portillo's and you didn't go to Luminati's.
No.
What did you do in Chicago, dude?
I went from the hotel, which was 2 blocks from the office, to the office, and like maybe 2 nights I actually stopped for dinner, like on the way back or forth, because dining rooms are closed, so it's not like I could go anywhere for dinner.
Yeah.
But in the loop area there, the West Loop, like everything closes by 6.
Sure.
So I'm like struggling to find food options.
No one's still back at work. Very few people are back at work. Was it crowded down there?
It was scary, like not crowded.
Yeah.
Traffic was still kind of bad, but it was insanely ghost townish.
Yeah,
but it wasn't as bad this time as it was a month ago when I did the day trip.
I work from home, and so I take my dog to the dog park every day at lunchtime. I like to get her just to run around a little bit. Dog park is right next to the Buffalo Grove, the suburb I live in. And Daryl, you didn't even come get my porch cash, you silly monkey.
No, I really was planning on doing it Tuesday night.
So I take my dog to the dog park, which is right next to the Buffalo Grove train station. Now, usually the train station in past, I got my dog during COVID, but COVID, excuse me, past the lot is huge because the lot is usually packed, completely packed.
Sure.
I mean, the entire time that I've been going to the dog park, which is like 4 months now, it is like there's like 6 cars in the parking lot of this huge parking lot. 6 cars.
Insane.
Nobody's going down, and they're talking about March now. I'm hearing June. Yeah. I'm hearing these crazy, insane, way out there dates of when they're going back to work. I've had people saying they're not even going back. Like their offices they're not even planning on going back.
No, there are a lot of offices I've heard about where they're pretty much shutting down the office. They're going to be full-time remote.
Yeah.
There's other offices that I'm hearing about where they're reconfiguring the office and changing who's coming into work. So the people who were in the field are coming back to work full-time, and then like the call center support staff that was there, like 24/7 before.
Right.
They're all sent home and working from home.
Yeah.
So it's a shift, and the offices are being, the big open spaces are all seemingly converted to little tiny offices now.
Yeah, I think this is going to
not just cubicles, but offices.
This is going to drastically change the way companies have structures and businesses and how businesses are going to run. And like 5 years from now, I think it's going to be very different from what we are used to. You know?
I think that's entirely possible, but I always kind of go back to, everything goes back to, like a norm. So I'm not sure that we're going to see a big change in like 5 years. We're going to see a big change in like 2 years, but then we're going to start drifting back toward the center.
I think people, a lot of companies were really, really hesitant, including the company that I used to work for. There was no work from home. They wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
Now they were forced to, and they're saying, "Oh my God, look, it's kind of working." Like I think you're going to see a lot more working from home. I think, or a lot the ability of maybe once or twice a week, or some people even full time. I think that norm has that not norm that myth and that has been busted wide open in terms of do people actually work when they're at work at home kind of a thing. I think.
But I have been getting a lot more scuttlebutt about the issues that people are facing working from home. And it's just now starting to really take its toll, especially with the kids going back to school.
It's brutal.
So even like 2 months ago, people are like, yeah, we want to work from home forever. Now those same people are saying, I'm done. I got to come back to the office.
It's very, I know. I always say like 14 out of my 22 years working, I work from home. Okay. I've worked from, and so I'm very accustomed to working from home, very accustomed to it. But I almost prefer the office just because it's there's people there and there's coworkers there and you can bounce ideas off of people. You can talk, go to lunch with people. It's a very lonely working from home. It's a very lonely life.
Well, and right now working from my office is pretty lonely too, because there's, we had like 80 people on the floor and now there's like 2.
Wow.
There's, like 6, 7 of us, something like that are in the office at any given day. Sometimes it's a little more, but it's a small group that's in the office every day. But at least there's some normalcy. You go to the office, you come home from the office, and there's that separation.
Sure.
So it makes it easier, even though,
separation and routine make a huge impact. But Scott, I agree with you. Sometimes going into the office is easier. I find that I'm working from home and have been for, several months now, but I tend to work longer. There aren't people around me talking and saying, "Oh, hey, got to go. Bye now. Oh, it's quitting time. Oh, how about that?" I may be working at the, computer there for a couple of hours and realize, it's dark outside. I should probably quit work now.
Well, it's funny because when I once timed it in over a week, and like I think when I'm at home working, I probably work maybe 9 or 10 hours a day. If I go to work, I work literally, Daryl, honestly, God, maybe 5.5 hours.
Wow.
Maybe 5.5. Just because you get there late, you get in, you check your email, you check everything, and then your buddy, if it's a Monday, forget about it. Hey, how was your weekend? Da, 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 da. Everybody's coming up to you, blah, blah, blah. Take a little extra lunch, if you go out with the buddy, you go to the bathroom, you go get a snack, and then you're chit-chatting for 20 minutes with somebody. It's amazing how quickly the time adds up. Whereas if you're home, you're home. You're in front of your computer, like you're just working. You just getting,
Well, and it's easier to do the heads down work a lot of the time.
Right.
But at the same time, like you've got the dog that's bugging you to go out.
Yeah.
So, it's different for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. But I always found if I want to get more work done, I work from home. More work gets done at home than it does in the office. As funny and corny as that sounds. Like, yep.
Yeah, it really does depend on what it is. And one of the things that I find is working from the office makes it a lot easier for that quick, hey, I need this answer from so-and-so, because you literally just walk over and get it.
I get it, yeah.
Now that we have to do the work from home with most of the people, sometimes little things that would take me like 5-10 minutes are now, like 20-30 minutes of actual like working, mostly trying to get answers.
Right.
And it takes me a total of like 2 or 3 hours before I can complete it.
Right. It's a half a day now before you can get that solid answer.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Chris says, I always found that the commute time helped you prepare for your workday, and then on the way home, de-stress from the workday.
1,000% agree with that. Absolutely agree. That's why I listen to my podcast. I used to listen to my podcast on the way into from work, and like now it's like work from home. I have to listen to it in the shower. I literally listen to the podcast in the shower.
Yeah, and that's not enough time.
How many phones have you gone through?
No, I put it right up on the shelf, right above. Like,
well, they do have those Bluetooth shower heads now.
I know.
Mhm.
I know. Maybe Christmas. There.
Actually, they have Alexa built into them. How creepy is that?
Alexa, make it hotter.
All right.
I'm sure they have that too.
That's just, no, that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Well, all right.
For you, Daryl. There you go.
Let's get into the first item on the agenda, which is the announcement. Or I don't know that it's technically announcement, but the reminder that there's a new souvenir coming up. International Earth Cache Day 2020 is Saturday, October 10th, and the Sunday, the 11th. So all you got to do is get an Earth Cache on either of those 2 days to get the souvenir.
You know who you can thank for it being 2 days now, right?
Who's that?
Land Monkey.
Why? Why is that?
Oh man, he's rallied against that for years because it's always fallen on Canadian Thanksgiving.
Of course it did.
Which I don't think it is this year.
Yeah, I can't keep track of Canadian Thanksgiving. It's just not my mindset to do so.
Is there pilgrims?
You just block it out.
But Wet Coaster we know.
Is there pilgrims? Did they like? Did they go and?
I looked it up one time and it's very similar.
Is it really? Okay.
White Coaster says that October 12th is a I'm thinking that's state holiday in Canada.
Is that big? October 12th? This is October 11th. Oh, so was he saying?
So the Monday after.
That's the Canadian Thanksgiving. Right?
Well, it's probably like a Veterans Day or not. It wouldn't be Veterans Day.
They don't have veterans.
But like President's Day or something.
It's
Thanksgiving. War in Canada.
Oh, it is Thanksgiving again.
Yeah.
Oh, again? Is it every year?
Well, I just Land Monkey has always told me that, having it on just the Saturday always interfered. He'd have to go out right after dinner to find an Earth Cache, or hopefully be able to find one, on the way to dinner.
Sure.
But yeah, but having 2 days has made it really nice.
Well, have you noticed that a lot of the COVID allowances that we've had on various games and whatnot have started to be rolled back a little bit? It seems like they're keeping some of it, but they're rolling back. Like Niantic just did an announcement for Pokemon Go players that they're rolling back these various things, but they're still going to keep these other ones.
Really?
Yeah.
How would they roll back? What's the point of rolling it back?
Well, because they have a lot of stuff in Pogo, and this was true in some of the other things that I had looked at. Like, I'm trying to think of one of the other ones, but there were a few of them that were doing it. But they have a few of the things, like they expanded the radius of Pokestops in gyms to allow for social distancing. They had the remote raid passes to allow you to stay at home to raid instead of actual go out. They had the reduced step counts because you can't go outside and walk 5 miles, so, and that kind of stuff is always getting cut back. And White Coaster says that Ingress for Saturday is still a virtual event, and Pogo is doing that with a lot of virtual events. So, it's a lot of this stuff seems to be easing up, but they're not rolling it back entirely, which I think was kind of interesting.
I think, isn't your state still pretty bad there, champ?
It's bad, but it's not so bad. Yeah, I don't think we're even in the top 10 anymore. At one point, we were like number 2 or 3. So we were kind of held up at one point as one of the states where the quarantine stay-at-home orders actually worked, because we got our cases down. But it was interesting because the diversity of the cases at that point was changing. Geographic diversity was changing, whereas when it was really bad, it was really like Detroit that got really bad, and that was it. Now we're having problems around the universities.
Well, everywhere is, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been our big problem. And in a lot of states, I think it's actually the same way, that the universities have kind of driven up the cases.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have a kegger at a fraternity house with 600 people at it. That tends to happen. You know?
Yeah.
or you have a bunch of college kids living in a dorm all packed together. I mean, it's gonna happen. You can't. And this is why my son's high school. He goes to one of the number 3 high school in the country, but it's humongous. There's like 4,000 students at the high school. It's like a college campus. It's huge.
Wow.
And, they all the parents want them to go back, and the school's like, no. Like, are you kidding? Like, it would be like a freaking tinderbox. I mean, it would explode. And then so the good thing about college is the kids go to college and they get COVID and they stay at college. Seriously, I know it could happen, but it's true. Here, the kids go to high school, they get COVID, and they bring it home to us, the older Gen Xers, who will die if they get the COVID. Or a better chance of dying than they do than a 16-year-old. So, or then we give it to our parents, or whatnot. So yeah, so the high school is like, no, we're not opening back up, and people are bitching and complaining.
Well, I was going to say, we've had a lot of people throwing temper tantrums about no high school sports.
Oh God, oh geez, yes, the whole football thing. Good Lord,
yeah. And then if there are high school sports, they start complaining about the mask regulations. It's like, if you're playing football or something, do you really want your kids out there without masks on?
I think it was funny. I think my son was telling me, my son's 15. So, I mean, a poor 15-year-old, just wants to go out with his friends and go be 15, and he can't. And he was telling me that, like, I think the only sport that's playing right now is golf. For a fall sport, the only fall sports playing is golf.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, the other ones, although he said that football is going to be regulated this spring. Football and soccer and all those are going to go into the spring sports for next year, which is kind of crazy because, like, that's a lot of sports at one time.
It is. And you're going to have a lot of kids who participated in both that now can only pick one.
Yeah. Plus, you've got like the football team and lacrosse team, I think, and the soccer team all use the same field. So
right.
I'm dealing with that as well. I don't know.
So it will be interesting to see how that pans out, to say the least.
So yeah, it's Earth Cache Day. Getting back to Earth Cache Day. So yeah,
we were talking about that.
Yeah.
We went from Canadian Thanksgiving to high school.
It was related, at least.
We somehow merged that way. So yeah, so luckily we still have a few. I mean, we don't have many left around us, like Jesse and I, and like few around us, but we still have. I know we still have one because I saw it when I was looking for a cache a few weeks ago, and I saw one. I think it's on like the border, like right around the border of. Like, I'm 20 minutes from Wisconsin border, so I think it's like right off the border. I think it's still in Illinois, but it's like right there. So it's on a beach, so we'll go hit that one, I think. So yeah, just because I want the souvenir. It's like I got like no souvenirs this year.
See, and I was gonna say, kind of leading into it, that's where we got sidetracked. Was we've got all of these souvenir promotions that have run long this year, and people have been complaining that these are too easy.
Well, it's too easy because you have an entire year to do it in. That's what.
Yeah.
Although, for the record, Jesse and I did that last one in one day.
Mm-hmm.
We did it in one day. We actually went out and we found like 24, 25 caches, and it was done. We had the whole thing done.
Yeah. Yeah. This last one, I liked Mystery at the Museum better.
I did too.
I didn't especially like the surprise find these extra 100 caches. Not that it was 100, but I was not happy about that. But in fairness, I knew about that long before.
Oh, you knew it was coming?
I was anywhere close because everyone was talking about it.
Yeah. This one was. I remember having. I mean, I worked on the one last year during Midwest GeoBash. Is when we were doing. And
I finished ours during Midwest GeoBash because we knew we could go down and get all those extra caches.
But we had to work for it. It wasn't like so easy we could just stumble across them. We had to actually, a couple of them we had to actually, like a couple of, were they gems? Is that what they were? I can't remember what they were.
You had to find the clues, which was the footsteps.
Right. Yeah.
They had like 4 different things because you had to find the one to unlock the next 3.
Right.
Then you had to unlock the gems.
Yes.
So we had this progression, you had to do them in order. This was a lot easier in that there's only the 2 tiers.
Right.
And almost all the caches had at least 2.
Yeah. Oh, they did have 2. Yes.
Tim and Amy Geo says it's not too easy for those that are unable to get out to cache.
This is
and that's exactly why they've extended it.
Right.
Yeah. But where I was kind of going with that was I don't think we're going to see the extension on the promotions like we have going forward. I think this is back down to the 2 days. They did not extend it to a week or anything. So I think we're finally getting to that point where we are going to see normal lengths, though they might have extended it a little bit more still. It's not going to be have 9 months to finish this.
Well, didn't the CEDOs now turn to seasons, like season 1 and season 2?
They did that a while ago, though.
That was pre-COVID.
Oh, that's
right.
Okay.
So they had, because it was originally just the like 2 weekends.
Right. It was like 2 weeks. Right.
And people were complaining because they couldn't get to it. Now they stretched that out.
YP. I mean, let's say it's your problem. Why is that? Like, how is that their problem? Like, well, we can't do it. Well, that's the whole point of it being,
because I think they were really trying to get the people out to do the CEDOs and get the souvenirs and everything to make the sport look better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get that, fuzzy, happy.
It's the PR thing.
Yeah, this is what's the problem with that.
And GSM times 2 wants to know if they should extend the Earth cache for a month. No.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the same situation exists that did for the summer challenge, right?
Fewer states and countries are in lockdown now than they were then.
Right.
Yes.
So a month? No. But I could see extending it for like a full 2 weekends again, have it run from Saturday to the following Sunday. Mm-hmm. Give people 2 weekends, spread it out a little bit more. And Wet Coaster says that CEDOs aren't being published where he is. He doesn't have part 1 and won't be getting part 2.
Yeah, I don't have part 1. Are we already on part 2? Well, we should be.
Yeah.
I don't even know. There was like no CEDOs to get part 1. No.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that Ohio is in the same boat where no events of any type can be published. They may have lifted that, but I haven't heard that they did.
Yeah, we have Illinois has events publishing, but there was no CEDOs. I know there's CEDOs now for the second one. I don't recall any for the first.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're allowed CEDOs in Michigan, but I know that there are some areas that CEDOs are being allowed, but nothing else, no other events.
I still have that community celebration. That's good to the whole next year, right? I don't have to.
I think that's only good through this year.
Oh, shoot, by December 31.
I think I'll have to check because I have one too.
Sometimes too. I knows. Come on, he's got to know.
Yeah, you could probably log in and take a look.
That's too much work. Not what I have. Could, but like I got to do that. But I think it got extended for another year.
It may have.
My email says December 31st, but that was, I think, the original email that I got. If I'm looking,
could be.
Did you get a community celebration, Daryl?
I did.
Did you get one, Chris?
Yes.
Oh man, it's like Jesus.
I'm looking on here now.
They come in the mail. Did everybody get one?
No, because Renee did not get one.
I got one. Jesse got one. Chad got one.
Okay, so it was originally released to be May 2nd through December 31st, 2020.
Yeah, see, that's my original. I'm looking at my email from April 3rd saying congratulations.
And then April 10th, I had a note.
Yeah. So here's the
community celebration events are now through May 2nd. 2020 through December 31st, 2021.
21. Yeah. So we have a whole
Oh, so a whole
extra year.
year. Daryl, a whole year.
Yeah. I think I can make it.
I'll
Though I'm not sure.
try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try real hard.
Now, there's no reason they should be lame events. You're right. You've got the time to plan.
You can't,
But here's the
You're gonna
problem.
be so loaded with megas. Megas coming out of our ears next year. Are you serious?
Here's the problem though with trying to do like your community celebration event or a mega. The people are very afraid of doing much of anything because you have no guarantee that everything isn't going to get shut down again.
Mhm.
Absolutely true. Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think talking to people who run megas, I mean, they're looking forward to 2021. They're assuming it's going to be.
Oh yeah, everyone's still working toward it, but there's this.
I mean, you have to work towards it.
Right.
The question is, are people going to? Daryl, your opinion. I want your opinion, and Chris, I want your opinion. Daryl, are people going to come?
I think they absolutely will.
Will you come? Will you go?
I don't know that I will.
No. What about you, Chris?
And it depends a lot on the time of year too.
Summertime.
Summertime, as long as it's in like June and July.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll probably do it.
Okay. So
When we get into August, we probably won't be doing it anymore because of the quarantine restrictions, and Renee has to be back at work in like mid-August.
Mhm.
all right,
So
Chris,
I don't think I'm going to be able to do the celebration because it's too close.
don't. I don't know my soundboard. I'd play you the prices. Chris, what about you?
I think people are itching to travel.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, am I itching to travel? Yes. But
Exactly. And geocachers, I think, even more so because we're used to being out and we're not getting out like we used to. So I think that's going to drive mega and giga events higher in count. And yes, I will go.
you will go. No
Mhm.
problem. You have no fears, no worries. You'll go.
I'll take precautions.
But you'll get in a group of 1,000 people and
Now, will I be there for the photo? Maybe not.
Probably not.
Right. But I mean, so am I going to get, shoulder to shoulder with people for that photo opportunity?
But
No.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, let's be honest and realistic and not be snooty about this. But guys, when Chris, when you go, when Daryl goes, when I go, people come up to you,
Yes.
shake your hand. We are, I guess, for lack of a better term, celebrities in this world where I'm sure you get noticed. I'm sure Daryl gets noticed. We all get noticed if you go to a mega.
Daryl didn't get noticed at all in Chicago. That's all.
No.
How are you gonna deal with that?
I don't think. Yeah. Funny thing, I would rather do fist bump because fist bump you can do it at arm length, where elbow is only half of that distance, right?
Yeah, I prefer the fist bumps.
Closer than a handshake.
Right.
But I also keep the spray hand sanitizer when I go and do those kind of things.
So I have, I started a new job just about the time the COVID quarantine happened. And so I haven't met many of my customers face to face. But when I did the first couple of times, by instinct, I stuck out my hand to shake their hand.
Oh,
it's like, I can't do that. Sorry. And then, you don't know what to do with the hand because it's already out there and you just, there we go.
Meanwhile, what Coaster says that most Canadians don't want the Canadian-U.S. border to reopen.
I don't blame them. I don't want the border to reopen. You guys shouldn't have to deal with us. I don't blame them at all.
So, I wonder, is the handshake over in America?
No.
I had a conversation with my wife about that. Like, is it going to? How is it? Is it going to be? Is the fist bump going to become the norm? Or you guys got the small screen. Is the fist bump going to be the new, or the elbow going to be the new? Like, hey, what's up, man? Boom. I didn't like shaking people's hands to begin with. In all honesty, I wasn't a big fan of it to begin with, just because people don't wash their hands.
Yeah,
really gross, And so, not that I'm a germ freak in any way.
Right.
Like, if I shake somebody's hands, I don't know. I will take various precautions not to touch my face. And it's very difficult because I've learned I'm a face toucher, is what I've learned during this.
Oh yeah.
Thing. I'm definitely a face toucher.
No, I'm fine.
I never noticed it until this whole thing happened. So I'd be curious to see. Probably no. I guess it will probably stay.
The
You know,
foot tap? I
the
haven't
foot
done that one yet.
foot tap I've never done. That's a good one though.
I think a good, shin hit, or shin to shin.
How about a
Yeah.
butt slap?
Oh, there you go. They're doing that in the NFL,
I
right?
know.
It has to be safe.
Be like sports. Turn around.
Careful.
Yikes.
I think there's a lot of problems with that in business. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
So yeah, so I'm just curious, like will they come? I think they probably will. I mean, like, yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna go to West Bend, I'm gonna go to Midwest, I'm gonna go to Seattle, barring if it's safe,
Right.
Seattle's gonna be tough because 10,000 people are a lot of freaking people.
It's a lot of people, yes.
People, and again, we are geo celebrities, so to speak, and people are gonna see us and know who we are and want to come up and say hello.
Okay, so if I had the opportunity to put up a table, I will do that. And
Yeah, I
stand
would
behind,
absolutely do it too, and
stand behind the table.
1,000% agree with you.
Force that distance.
But did you ever, for example, bigger celebrity than us? Did you ever see Joshua at
Oh,
a,
yeah.
at
Yeah.
an- it's insane. It's a crowd. If I'm looking for Joshua, I find the crowd, and there he is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, how does he gonna deal with that?
So when we were all together in Cincinnati, I saw Joshua a couple of times, and he's always just swarmed.
Right. Yeah.
So I found, talking to him afterwards, he goes, I had to run to go to the bathroom. I had to run because if I just go at a normal walking pace, people catch up to me and stop me. But if I'm running, they don't seem to be able to figure out how to intercept me as quickly.
Well, and
funny.
I think if you're running, people don't expect to be able to catch up and stop you.
Right.
They at least respect that,
Yeah,
you have somewhere you have to be.
It's funny because I would stand there when we were in Nebraska, and he's got a crowd around, and I'm just standing there laughing at him. And then I say something to him, and everybody turns around and goes, "Oh my God!" Like they recognize my voice. They didn't recognize my face. They recognized my voice.
Right.
And as soon as I said that, they're like, "Oh my God, that you!" I'm like, "Yeah, me. Yeah, but
Oh, you're that guy.
I know I'm myself.
You don't look like your voice.
I know that voice." Yeah. So then Jesse's like, Jesse looked at me. She's like, "Don't you want that?" And I'm like, "No, I do not want that at all. I want what I have, where I have to speak for people to be like, hey, I know that voice." I prefer that much better than people constantly. I mean, poor guy. I feel bad for him when he's a bad guy.
And and if you're watching something on a regular basis, TV show, podcast, whatever, you develop a relationship with that other person.
Oh yeah.
And they don't know about that. So, they can come up to you and say, "Oh, Scott, do you remember when you said da 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 da?" And you're how do you know that about me?
No, people would come and ask me, would come up and ask me about my kids.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "Whoa."
exactly.
How was Toby's baseball game the other day? I'm like, what? Like what?
How-
Well, I forgot I talked about it on the show, yeah,
Exactly.
it's crazy. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see next year how it happens and what goes on with the megas and how people are going to respond to that. Is it just going to be the norm and everybody's going happy-go-lucky, let's all do a big photo shoot kind of a thing? I mean, how is Midwest Geobash, which is known for its social aspect of that mega, and it's a fantastic mega. I don't know if you've ever been there, Chris. It's
I
fantastic.
have not missed it by a week one year.
Fantastic mega. How he is going to manage that, because while it is a huge area, it's on this what is it, Daryl? It's what's it called? Where the mega is.
Seattle?
No.
No, which one are you talking about?
Midwest
Midwest
Geobash.
Geobash?
Oh, Midwest Geobash, the Fulton County Fairgrounds.
Fulton County
Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds. Chris, it's a huge fairgrounds, like huge acres and acres and acres, and yet everybody stays there. Like it's not like a mega where people go. It's everybody's there, and it's packed in. Like, and non-COVID, it's awesome for me, who likes to be social. It's fantastic, but for a COVID era, for COVID, like I don't know, like that's scary.
Yeah. I think, if you're intentional about it, you can go in, you can say your highs, you can scoot back out to the perimeter, hide away in your car for an hour if you have to. But, I think you can control your social exposure. That probably didn't come out right.
Geo sometimes too says that 10 of the vloggers went geocaching with Joshua in Cincinnati, and they were invisible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I absolutely believe that. for now, for now on, I'm going to pay people to walk around to be Scott's entourage. Thank you. Yes. Oh, that's Semmel.
There you go, bodyguards.
I'll have signs printed up. This is Scott Burks
with a sign with arrow.
with arrows. Yeah.
With arrow.
And people
Or
all
how about just big arrows that says "This is not a celebrity" or anything like that?
And honestly, it's if I don't speak, it's awesome because
ordinary guy here.
very few people come up to me if I don't speak, if I don't talk.
I've had a couple of those events where I have people just kind of like staring at me throughout. A little bit creepy sometimes. And it's like as soon as I say something, now I know.
There it is. It's just so funny. Me and Jesse were once eating at an event, like at a Portillo's or something, and we're eating, and I say something, and someone goes, "Is that Scott Burks?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Oh my God, I know that voice." Yeah.
Ryan says we're still planning on how to make things safe for megas next year. Scott, you brought up an excellent point. Can we do buffets at mega events anymore? Or is it all going to be a boxed lunch to go? If we do food service at all.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's got to be boxes.
Food trucks. Food truck.
Hey, I'm not a big fan of porta potties to begin with.
Food truck.
But now I don't even want to go near them.
Porta potty? No, I don't want to go to a porta potty.
I wasn't a big fan to begin with. But when you have to use it, they're better than nothing. But now, I mean, you think about it, how many people have grabbed that handle to open that door? When you see the big lines, like any
public restroom for that matter, let alone a porta potty.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not the porta potties.
Yeah.
And I'd rather go to the porta potty for that than like the restroom at the mall where you have to open the door.
You have to open the door in the porta potty.
Yeah.
No, but if you've got like the big restroom at the mall, now you've got probably 40 or 50 times as many people touching it.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's like I've been to the mall several times since COVID, and all the doors are propped open if it's at all possible.
Really?
What is this mall you speak of?
Almost everyone has the contactless toilets and sinks and everything now. So it's, they're making it as safe as possible.
Where you have to do Tai Chi in order to find just the right angle to get the...
Yeah, so many of those are such a pain. But yeah, it's like they're going through and doing the whole thing. And Chris says, just wear gloves all of the time.
All the time.
Can I tell you a story?
What?
I was in Costco, had to use the bathroom.
In
I
Costco?
walk in. Yeah.
You in Costco?
Well, when you got to go, you got to go.
No, that's Rona. That's Ronaville. You don't go to the bathroom.
So I walked in and there's two urinals. One's being used. Oh, fine. You know what? I'm going to wash my hands first. And I'm kind of keeping my eye on the guy. So when he leaves, I can, go to use the other one and still keep that distance. He turns around and walks out. He's wearing gloves.
Oh, God. Come on.
And I'm like, what good is the gloves? Why? Okay, I'm done with people today.
See, and I was so hopeful too that when all of this came down, everyone's like washing the hands. Yeah. Now it seems like everyone's right back to the usual, and it's like no one washes their hands.
Okay, I know we have other topics, but we're kind of on a roll here. Okay, how can flu season be as bad as they're going to say it is? Right? They're already having outbreaks of flu in certain cities and that. Aren't we washing our hands better than we ever have?
Yeah.
Aren't we social distancing? Aren't we wearing masks? How can the flu even be an issue right now?
Because it's government mandated.
Oh, okay. I just look at it and I thought early on, I go, well, this is going to be the best
conspiracy theory.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
Well, and one of the things that I wonder is are we in worse shape for other things because now we've been isolating ourselves so much that we're not building up any tolerances for anything else?
They're finding that with kids who spend a lot more time inside playing video games rather than going outside and eating dirt like we used to do.
We used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, even before Corona, they were doing the studies of you got to get the kids outside and expose them to these germs. You can't have them living in a land of Purell and isolationism.
Yeah.
My bigger question, Daryl, is what's the PTSD is going to be like? Right now, I look at like basketball games from 2 years ago and I shudder and I have an anxiety attack going, oh my God, those people are all together. Look at them, they're sitting side by side. You're like, how are we going to get back to that and not have panic attacks?
I think once we get the vaccine,
Beer.
it's going to. I seriously think once we get the vaccine and we've had it in people's systems for a year.
That's up. But now you're looking at 2 years.
Now we're going to start seeing people returning back to normal, and life is going to really start going back to like nothing happened.
So you're looking at
people are very forgetful.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but people are also very tolerant, and people also get used to things. Like my 50-year-old son, he's like, like, how's it going? He's like, I'm used to it by now. He's like, it is what it is now.
Well, and that's the problem that we have now is that people are so sick of the restrictions that they just don't care enough.
They'd rather die.
Yeah,
they get sick.
It's like, this is not living. I'm going to, go back to as much normal as I can afford.
This is not living for a short period of time. If I would live like this for a year, if it meant the next 40 years, I could live the way I wanted to. I have no problem. Well,
and Scott, you are willing to take that short-term restriction for long-term gain. I don't think that's the average American.
But that's the problem. The problem is that's where we're going to be dealing with this for years and years and years and years because people won't wear a goddamn mask, Chris. That's the problem.
You're right. Right.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Ryan says that after seeing people go to the doctor for basic issues, they made them get the corona test. I think most people will not go to the doctor for fear of having to miss work.
Why would you miss work?
Because you're positive for coronavirus.
Now businesses have that 2-week Rona pay. No, that doesn't.
Sure, a lot of them do.
Yeah,
but there's still the stigma and everything. But here's the thing: I know
it's like you've got the freaking with the stigma.
I know too many people who won't go to the doctor.
You got the Rona. What kind of stigma is there? It happens. I mean, people. Yeah. I know people that have gotten it. It's not a stigma. Happens.
People?
Yeah. Jesse's people. 2 people who work under both of them got the Rona. Jesse tested 4 times negative, though. God bless her. But yeah, just 2 people Jesse works with had it.
But I've talked with too many people who won't even go to the doctor for like important stuff.
That's crazy.
Because they are afraid of getting exposed to someone.
You will absolutely not get exposed. Because I had just my yearly checkup, and I called to check, and she's like, "Oh my God, no." Like, no. We check, we take your temperature, any symptoms do not. Anyone with symptoms goes to a totally different building. At least this is my doctor. Totally different building to go get checked, and go get tested. But anyone coming in here it's like a safe. Usually the general practitioners are a safe zone. Like you'd be hell bent to get Rona at your general practitioner.
You know what? We're at like 44 minutes so far, and we've hit one geocaching story.
This is very random tonight.
Yes, which we knew this was going to happen, but I'm having fun and hope everyone else is as well. But let's get to 2 stories, one of which is a geocaching story. The other one I promised that we were going to talk about on the last show. So S. Patrick 1964 on YouTube commented, "It's really tough to recommend a GPSR these days. I guess the AA battery option is the only reason these days. You can even get an unactivated iPhone SE first generation for around $50 or a restored iPhone 6S, and it outshines the GPSRs by a mile in almost every way possible. Garmin, for example, unless you pay around $300 plus, you don't even get a camera. The screen of even a Oregon is only about 30% of the size of an iPhone SE. get a $10 Powerbook, and the SE works all day long. GPSRs, while you have several of them, are simply out of date these days for geocaching options compared to a cell phone.
You know what's funny?
Yes and no.
It's been 10 years. Okay, I'll give it 10 years. And I agree with that 75%. I agree with what he's saying. I think GPSRs are still useful. I think people still use them. I still have one in my bag. Granted, I haven't turned it on in 2 years. But when last time I turned it on, worked like a champ, you know, because there are certain places that I've cached in the woods, middle of the woods, that my signal just lost. My phone just went, not because of the battery, just because I just lost all signal, you know. And so I pulled out my GPSR. That being said, that doesn't happen very much often in these days, you know. It doesn't. And I've noticed my phone, I could be in the middle of the woods and my phone is, you know, accurate to 16 feet, you know, which is fine. That's fine. It's part of the game is to hunt it, not just, you know. So I don't know. I find that I think, yeah, what he's saying is correct. I think I think for the average user, for a new user, I don't see any point in getting a GPSR. I don't see it. No.
Well, and most of the time, if you're doing the urban suburban hides, it really doesn't pay at all.
Which is most of the new with the COVID cachers, if you want to, you know what I like.
Yeah. So I still think that the GPSR is a valuable tool. You know, especially if you're going to be hiking, if you're doing any backpacking or anything like that, they are far more durable. That said, it's not as if you can't make a smartphone work as well in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly think
a little work.
Yeah, but I certainly think that the
same with the GPSR.
Yeah, but the smartphone, I think, power-wise, is so much easier and better to use. You know, swapping the AA batteries, yeah, it's a nice convenience. You can throw the lithiums in there, but I really like having the battery case. So as long as you have a decently popular phone, you can get these battery cases, and you just keep swapping them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hot swap. You don't have to shut it down to change the batteries.
Mm-hmm. And this is coming from Daryl, who says he'd rather use a phone. He's the king of the GPSRs. How many GPSRs do you have behind you, Daryl?
I've only got 5.
The other king of the GPSRs, GSM times 2, says, you may be interested to know that today I went geocaching and never used my GPS.
See, that's the problem, is even when I bring my GPSR, I never have to use it. It's like I've powered it on, it's sitting there around my neck, and I never use it.
Really? See, I just put it, mine's in my bag. It's been in my caching bag for 7 years.
Now, you know, one of the things that I do with my GPS is take it to the events, have them load the GPS with the private caches, the ones that haven't been published, so that I can take the card out and plug it into the card reader on the iPhone and grab that file off of it.
That's what it's for.
Daryl,
that's sad.
I know you right now.
What's that?
I'm embarrassed. I know you right now.
Hey, when they won't give me the file,
I can't email you the file.
I've been to events where like we just don't have the capacity to email the files.
That's awesome.
Well, once they go live, you can, you know, sort on them.
That's the problem, is that they're not going live till the next day.
Right. Yeah. They'll go live after the event's over.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've done that once or twice now where I've had to do that.
See, they should at least
GPS for us to do it for swapping for.
Well, and the worst part is one of the events that I did that at a long time ago, which I actually used the computer to get it off. But one of the ones I did a long time ago, they put the file on the GPS and it locked up my GPS.
Locked it up.
It was a bad GPX file because it came out of GSEC with garbage characters.
Oh.
And the 62 froze when it hit the cache that had it. So it would start loading, and if you had that cache on screen, it would just crash. It wouldn't do anything.
How does a GPSR crash, just out of curiosity? Is it just like, what does it do?
Yeah, it just locks. In this case, it just locks. But I've seen them.
Locks. Like it doesn't because nothing's the numbers
Nothing. You can't pan. You can't do anything. You have to remove the batteries. It won't power itself off.
Really?
Yeah.
I never had one lock.
I've had that, and I've seen other. And actually, the Colorado used to do this, where when it crashed, the whole screen would just kind of fade out
slowly though.
Yeah,
it's waving goodbye.
So there's a whole bunch of different ways that they crash.
The water, as you can see the light dim.
Yeah, it's amazing how different it was. I mean, than 10 years ago. I mean, think of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
amazing how different of a game it is. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And here's the truth. I believe it's only going to get worse. It's harder and harder to get support for the GPSRs.
Oh no, they'll eventually go away. Phones are getting too sophisticated and too good. Yeah.
Well, and the trouble is, we've passed that point where you're ever going to sell more handheld GPSRs.
They still sell them?
Oh yeah. They're still releasing new ones.
Oh, new ones? Really? They do?
Oh yeah. Ryan says, I love my GPSR and I'm about to get the new Montana.
They just came out with a new Montana, 2 months ago?
You're kidding. To see, Ryan, do you only cache with the GP? Like, if you're doing parking grabs, you use your phone, or are you a full-time GPSR guy? I'm curious.
But it's getting, for the manufacturers, it's getting more expensive to make these units because they're not making as many of them.
Yeah, they're not making any money on it.
You've got to, they're still making money on it. But I think we're going to see a reduction in the number of models. I was really surprised that the Montana got an update.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting that if the Montana gets the update, is the Oregon going to go away? The GPS Map 60 series, which is currently the 66, I don't think that's going to go away. And I don't think the E-Trex is going to go away. I expected the Montana to go away, but they updated it.
The Montana? Which
one? The Montana 650, I think?
Right.
Yeah, they have a new one.
The state of.
Yeah, he says he uses both. All right, so he uses both.
Yeah.
So he does use his phone.
And there are nice features about using each. So, it's a...
There used to be. Now
different.
I don't see the reason. There used to be. I could fight that fight 4 years ago. Now I don't see a reason to use my GPSR. I don't personally. That's just me.
All right. Okay, let's move on to the story that I promised we were going to hit. And this one, I know you're not going to be so fond of the source, Chris, but it is The Verge.
Oh, The Verge.
The Verge.
That's still going?
It's still I'm still surprised.
I have to go to see him. I can't. The Verge, seriously?
Yeah, they were the only place that I found that actually covered this story. The iconic Sega building in Akihabara, I probably totally got that wrong.
Yeah, you probably did.
Is gone.
Japan.
Where did it go?
Well, it's still there, but it's closed.
Okay.
Although I wouldn't be too surprised if it goes away.
What? So was it like Sega headquarters? I don't know the story.
No. It's
what?
It was an arcade.
It was an arcade. Oh, an arcade. Like a coin op, like what we used to go to arcade. Like
the multi-floor haven filled with arcade cabinets and gotcha games. Closed in late August after being open for 17 years. The building served as perhaps the most recognizable landmark in Tokyo's vibrant, gadget-filled... Oh, there we go. There's the photo.
There you go.
But it attracts plenty of tourists. If you've played one of the great Yakuza games, you've probably spent time playing Sega arcade games in a virtual session of the Sega's Akihabara Second or something reminiscent of it. Now this building's closing isn't a sign that Sega arcade cabinets and the like will disappear from Japan. It's just from this building. And so many on Twitter have noted since the store closed, it's just another long log in the already already too long 2020 sucks book.
Right.
Wow. And now I can't talk anymore.
Now you do is you shrug your arms and go 2020. What are you gonna do? You know?
Thank you, 2020.
2020. Well, you know, if you're into video games, there's still Super Potato. Just if you're curious, there, Daryl.
I'm sorry.
always
What?
Oh, they do
I
have
enjoy playing Super Potato.
they do have photos from a Twitter post embedded in here as well of the Sega being removed. So they're just going to these
That.
ugly like bare aluminum tubes hanging off the side of the building.
So it was basically just it was a video game place.
Yeah. It was just essentially a
There you
And
go.
shockingly, that didn't survive in the Rona infested world we currently
I
live in.
know, right?
I'm shocked.
you know, I don't think that this is actually a casualty of Corona.
You think people just don't want to play video games?
I
And-
think we've just hit that point where there's, this is high price real estate.
yeah.
I don't think enough people go to arcades to make that work anymore.
You know what, Daryl? Records are back. Okay, records are back, and if
Yeah.
records are back, anything can come back, Daryl.
Well, and the retro arcades are back, but they're doing it in like low rent districts.
Well, who's
yeah.
gonna go to that?
They're actually doing a lot of it. It's basically they're like selling the booze to pay for it, though.
Oh, is it? Is that like one of the things where it's like, yeah, like every restaurant now in Chicago, every restaurant wants a liquor license because they all want to put slot machines and and the poker machines in there.
Yeah, well, a lot of these are it's the bar with a whole bunch of arcade machines, and you'll get your beer. You go play a game with your buddies on these, old arcade machines that you maybe grew up with or that your parents told you about, because they do have some of them like.
Yeah, I want to get loaded and go play.
It's
on. That's what
it's like a retro Dave and Buster's kind of thing.
Nothing like a couple of beers and Space Invaders, let me tell you.
Well, and have you seen the
and Tron? Give me those. Can I have those, please?
the Tron is there. But have you seen the recreations that they've done on some of these games? Renee and I were at round one over a year ago now, and they had Pong as a tabletop game where it's actually physical paddles and a physical block.
Like that.
Yeah, in glass.
Oh Lord.
It's moving around, I'm assuming by magnets, because there's no like belts or anything that you can see moving. So it's moving around in there and scoring and everything, the same sounds.
That's pretty incredible, though.
It was so incredible. We had to play it because it was just such a cool looking thing. Yeah. And I've seen photos of similar ones. And then they've got these giant LED walls for like Pac-Man. The things are so low res.
Well, yeah, I have a picture of my kid, my youngest, my 9-year-old playing. It was as big as a wall. Pac-Man is big as a wall.
Yeah, and Space Invaders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and Jesse did that. Yeah, the Space Invaders.
See, the Space Invaders is the one that's kind of the coolest because it's, literally these guys falling down at you.
Yeah.
And I've seen projectors and whatnot done like that with Missile Command.
Oh, nice. Yeah, see, okay, only Gen Xers can appreciate this talk right now. No, anybody who's a millennial is like, what are they talking about? What is this?
No, they know because they grew up with us telling them about it and how awesome it was, or how sucky it was, and they should be glad they have
the old Sega country, like the old first Sega that they had.
Well, in Sonic, everyone was so excited when Sonic came out.
Sonic was there to kill Mario. He was a direct competitor to Mario.
Oh yeah,
I've been watching High Score on Netflix about the early start of video games, and it's really quite fascinating. I'm enjoying it.
Well, it's funny how it's like I cannot explain to my kid what it was like to go to an arcade back in the 80s. Like, I mean, Dave and Buster's isn't even close.
No.
It's the same thing, because now they have these new games, and it's all these new But like, just like go to a coin op and there'd be, only stand-up games and, Tron and Galaga and, Space Invaders and Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man,
Well,
Cuba.
and sometimes you'd get the one wall in the back that had some of the pinball machines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Totally.
But that would be like it. Oh, and the claw machines. Some of them put in the claw machines.
The best we got was the sit-down Star Wars one. Remember the sit-down Star Wars one?
Yeah.
That was like as high-tech as you got.
Well, and Miss Pac-Man had the sit down as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, Miss Pac-Man was a sit-down one with a bar where you could like you and your buddy could sit down and have a drink, and it was like
Right.
right? Wasn't that one?
Yeah. But that's why they did those tabletop, I think, games at that point, was they were literally looking for the bars.
Right. Trying to sell the product along with it.
Yeah.
And you there was always that one guy who could go in there and play for 3 hours on one quarter.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know if you guys knew the trick. There was a trick with
It depends on the game.
with Donkey Kong. Okay, what we do is we'd go to McDonald's, we get lunch, and then we'd grab a straw. We'd walk into the arcade. You go to Donkey Kong. Okay, you open the straw up, so you got the straw. You go like this, so you make it to a point, and if you suck the straw in at the right place and forgive me, jiggle it around a lot. Okay, you just go ding 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 ding, and you just rack up now, what were they? They weren't numbers. What were they?
Credits.
Ding, 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 ding. So you'd have like 99 credits, and then you just throw away the straw and you just play Donkey Kong to your heart's content. Is what you would do.
But there was always
that tune, that don 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 don. It's embedded into my brain. I played that game so much.
Yeah. But there's always that like one or two guys that would be hanging out at the arcade with, the 10,000 point scores, which at the time were huge.
Oh yeah.
And everyone would start gathering around them. And they, as soon as they ended, everyone goes and plays their games again.
Right.
And the quarters are just pumping in. So, they would actually give these guys free tokens to come in and play.
Oh, really?
Because they would keep people playing. It turned it into a little bit of a sport.
The first esports.
I was
Essentially.
I always thought Tempest was a really weird game. Remember that one you had to turn?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like that
weird,
one.
crazy game that was. Like, you just spin it. It's like drive you crazy.
Well, it was, spherical Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really weird. Yeah. It was a cool game.
Well, and I seem to remember, and I don't remember if that's true, if you spun it fast enough and just kept hitting the fire button,
you good?
You were never going to get hit. And, chances are that you'd actually get a pretty decent score. But I know that can't be true because I never did well at that game.
Listen, that and Tron, I couldn't get past the light cycles on Tron. Like,
Tron,
man, I stunk at Tron.
Tron just drove me insane.
Waste of a quarter. That and Dragon's Lair, which was like 50 cents. That game,
I was so enthralled with Dragon's Lair, but I absolutely hated that game.
Laser disc. It was so cool.
Yeah, well, and that's by the time that came out, I was already working in production.
Really?
So yeah.
How old are you, Daryl?
72.
Not long or not much different than you are actually. But no, I was working production when I was in high school. So, I understood how cool this was, what a revolution it was. And we were actually doing, because you couldn't do kiosks or anything with video if it was a computer kiosk.
Yeah.
So you really couldn't do kiosks. But through that, you were able to do real video. And you could do looping playback and everything, and then trip off new actions.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't getting involved with it, but I was following it at that point about all of these companies doing the kiosks off of laser discs. And then maybe a year later, we started using laser discs with specialty video cards and overlaying graphics, or, the whole screen is graphics.
Yeah.
On these computers with touchscreens. And then when we needed a video, we could call the video through a serial interface, open up a window, and there's our video.
See, to me, that's where video games jumped the shark. When Dragon's Lair came out, as cool it was, and trust me, it was cool as hell. They jumped the shark. That was it. That was the downfall of video games. Was Dragon's Lair.
I can see that because it wasn't about the gameplay anymore. It was about story.
Right.
And the story wasn't that good to Dragon's Lair.
Pole position. Chris Bruce's pole position. I like pole position.
Pole position was good.
Yeah, I like pole position.
See, my biggest two.
It is horrible graphics.
Oh, it's terrible.
Horrible graphics.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to love it. I played it all the time.
Yeah.
But the two that I really got most stuck on, well, actually three. Of course, Donkey Kong. I always wanted to play Donkey Kong.
Me too.
But Joust.
Joust with the flapping birds. Yeah.
Yes. And I really like that. Again, I think it was because it was a multiplayer simultaneous game.
Yes.
I really like those. And then eventually Rampage became my favorite.
That's the one with the dinosaurs, right? The
monsters.
Break down the city one, right?
Yes. Yeah. You have to destroy the city before they destroy you.
Right. Yeah.
And you and your buddies are all beating up the city together, fighting for the highest score. And you're trying to like make sure your buddies don't get killed.
I was always I was a Donkey Kong man. I was a Donkey Kong Jr. man. I liked Joust. I liked. I was a Qbert fan. I liked Qbert.
I hated the Qbert game, but I loved Qbert.
Oh, I liked the game. I thought it was cool. But yeah,
I got bored.
No, man. Once you get far enough, you had to hit the thing 2 or 3 times. Oh my god, it drove me insane.
I know, but it was like, okay, I'm doing the same thing over again. What am I, a lab rat?
Yes, you are, Daryl. Chris, what about you? I know you played.
The store near the house got in Battle Zone, and I would play that one for hours.
Wait, which one's better? Is that the tank one?
Yeah, that was
the frame tank.
The tank one.
It was vector based instead of being pixel based.
Yes, yes.
Galaga was another one I played for hours.
Galaga, amazing. Yes, sure, Galaga. Yes. What is this?
Those were my two favorite. There were others tossed in there, but those were it.
I would put Scott as a Leisure Suit Larry player.
I remember seeing that.
You know why I'm not? Because I had a Mac and it didn't come on the Mac. It only came on the
No, they did have it on the Mac.
Not when I had a Mac. They didn't.
Oh, yeah, that might have been.
Land of the Lounge Lizards.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I had it on the Mac.
Did you?
Yeah.
What
but
year?
I want to say that was a Mac Plus.
A lot, Daryl.
What year was that?
If it were not for the Mac, I would not have gotten into computers.
Early 80s.
I mean, no, even the 90s, mid 90s, there were no games for the Mac. Nothing.
Oh, that's not true.
What was for the Mac, dude?
Well, no, I guess I'm thinking Apple II more than you're right.
Well, and some of the cooler games were on the Mac in the late 80s, early 90s, but they weren't the better games. They were like the one that I always used to play was Stella Obscura.
Never heard of it. No.
It was a freeware game that you had to actually build a viewer to put on your screen, and then you played in 3D.
What? Wait, you
because it was the
built a viewer.
Yeah, it's just cardboard. You built a viewer that you put on the screen.
This is why you have bad eyes, Daryl.
To separate, well, probably.
No, that's not the reason you went blind.
Yeah, but you have to separate the two, just like the old. Oh shoot, I can't remember it, but the old cards that you remember seeing from like the World's Fair in the 1800s.
Yeah.
It's that concept, the same concept that's behind the Google cardboard.
Right.
They were doing that back in the mid to late 80s.
Oh, mid to late 80s. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
See, we didn't get to like mid 90s or mid to late 90s before they started. Like you had like Escape Velocity and all those games coming out from Mac. Remember those? I can't remember the company who put all those games out.
Yeah. Well, and we had Myst in the early 90s.
Myst, yes.
Which was originally only on the Mac.
Right. That was a rarity that but
the original was built in SuperCard.
The late 90s, SuperCard. Holy mackerel. Wow, you're going back.
Uh-huh.
What was the other one? Real something. Not real. Was it SuperCard and
Real?
Was it Real?
Are you getting that confused with Unreal?
No. The how to build games in a Mac back in the 90s. What the hell was the name of that platform?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. Anyway, so towards the late 90s, that's when you got like the good games like the what's that one where we'd go and you'd kill dragons and stuff like that? And you were fighting. I can't remember the name of the guy.
See, I'm not sure what that one is. But
Dragon's
we also had Marathon.
Marathon?
Yeah, Marathon was early 90s, I think, which was the precursor to Halo.
Yes. I do remember that. Yes.
That one I got really into. We'd have LAN parties at our offices.
LAN parties, for Christ.
And we were building our own maps, and like everyone went in and tried to build their own office so that you could fight in the office that you were playing in that night.
What's funny is that back in the mid 90s, the comic shop near my house would actually have computers set up, and they would sync them all together, and kids would go in and play. I can't remember what game they were playing for the life of me.
Doom?
Was it? No, I don't think it was.
Doom was a big one, I think, still at that point. Yeah.
It was. I can't imagine it. Maybe I'm just laughing because I can't imagine it being Doom, but it could have been. I mean, or not. What was the other?
Or
one?
Redneck Rampage. That was a big one for a little while.
Castlevania. What was the other one? What was the other one with the Nazis?
Castlevania was too early. Doom was Nazis.
Doom was the Nazis.
No, Castle Wolfenstein was Nazi.
Wolfenstein. That's what. Thank you, Chris.
Wasn't? I thought Doom was Nazis too.
No.
Castle Wolfenstein. Definitely Nazis. Yes. Thank you, Chris. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Castle Wolfenstein. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game. Well, horrible now, but for the time.
Oh yeah, but at the time,
it's laughable now. But yes.
I just was talking with a friend yesterday. We worked together. We would travel for the week and then come back on the weekends to home. And so, we would get hotel rooms right next to each other, stay there for the week and do our work. And in the evenings, there's nothing else to do. So we ended up taking our desktops and monitors and back and forth every weekend. So we could play Doom together on the weeknights.
This is
yeah, it was dorky.
Pre-laptop days.
Well, the laptops weren't worth it for gaming.
Yeah.
Well, and the laptops weren't actually laptops at that point either.
They were luggables.
Right.
They were luggables. They were what? Processors? What were they called? They were called something.
No, they called them laptops at the time, but they were like crush your laps.
They were in no way a laptop.
They were like 20, 30 pounds.
It was a portable computer, basically.
Yeah.
Well, a luggable computer. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Apple did have the Macintosh Portable, which was not a laptop. It didn't even have a battery, I don't think. So the thing had to be plugged in, and it weighed a ton. But they came out with the Powerbook line.
The Powerbook, yeah, that's what I had.
Or was it before? Yeah.
I had 4 colored. It was 4. It was
the
white,
Powerbook,
rare, and black. It was fantastic.
The Powerbooks were after they made the switch to the RISC processors, the PowerPCs. And I thought that they had ones that were built on the 68,000. Yeah, no, they did have ones built on the 68,000.
Yeah.
They weren't Powerbooks.
I had a Power.
The Powerbooks were the RISC-based ones. They had another name before that.
First PowerBook I had was not a PowerPC.
No, they were MacBooks. They used the MacBook nomenclature, I think.
MacBooks back in the early 90s. What are you, crazy?
Wow, wait a minute.
You're getting old, Daryl. Too much
Yeah.
happens, and you get it all jumbled up. No.
I really wanted the Commodore SX64. You remember that one? It was a luggable, had a built-in screen.
Oh God, look at that. Holy God. Wow.
There you go.
Wow. Daryl, the PowerPC didn't come to like the late 90s, or I think. When did the PowerPC come in?
It was early 90s.
No way. Get out of town.
Yeah, because I had a Power Mac 6100 that I got when I left my job in like 93.
Let me see what I had. Now you're making me go do research. If I go Mac laptop, my first laptop about 1994. So let's see what that.
Okay, they don't. Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I can get my computer PowerBook 165. There it is for $200. I could buy my own laptop again, there. I think
iBook.
Or did I have the
No
PowerBook 500? I remember it had a roller. It didn't have a mouse that had a roller.
Right.
And I'd have to clean it. I remember cleaning the roller. I hated cleaning that roller.
Oh, no, it was Powerbook. They started off as Powerbooks.
Yeah, it was a Powerbook.
And one of my buddies had the Powerbook 160.
I think I might have had that. I think I
No, sorry. He had the 165C.
think
It was
I had the
color.
165. Oh, see, mine was in color. Okay, then I didn't have the 160.
The 160. Wait, I'm not seeing the 160. Oh, here it is.
I had the 4-color. That's what I had.
So the Macintosh Powerbook 165 and 165C. Starting price was $3,400.
Holy man!
Introduced in 1993. It is considered obsolete.
No. Oh, is it?
What is it?
It used the 68030 processor
Right,
at
that's
33 megahertz with 1 core.
You can hand crank that and keep up with it.
It was available with 40, 60, or 120 megabyte hard drives
40 megabyte hard drive, Daryl.
How are you gonna fill up a 40 megabyte hard drive?
with
How much
the
power do you need?
1.44 floppy, of course. And how much RAM do you think these supported?
1.
I was gonna say one
One RAM,
1 megabyte.
What? 2.
4 megabytes.
Was it top? Was that top? Did
That-
top was it 4?
That was the only option.
Oh wow! All right. Yeah.
So it was one of the ones that they were soldering with either 128 or 512, depending on whether you had mono or 4-color. But it was oh no, it actually was 8-bit. So you could get 256 colors on that.
Woohoo!
Wow. See, I must have had a younger one then because I only had 4-color.
I had
There
some of the
was
early Toshibas.
Daryl, I remember like in the mid to late 90s paying like $300 for like 4 megs of RAM back in the
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
those crazy days. I mean, oh my, what is that?
That's an early Toshiba laptop.
Toshiba, God bless.
They look like tanks. They were built like
I
tanks.
still remember Toshiba being the big hot thing with plasma. You know, the black and orange plasma.
Look at that thing. Look at that.
We are so old. Okay,
I-
how about
I'm gonna-
the Macintosh Powerbook 500 with PowerPC? That's the full name. Introduced in August of 1995. Using the 603E processor.
You said Powerbook 500?
Powerbook 500 with PowerPC.
Trying to see if I had one.
I think this is probably newer than what you had.
What year was that? What year did that come out?
August of 95.
No, I might have had that.
But this actually had the full color, though.
Oh no. I didn't have the full color until like 90.
Right, and that's why I'm saying I think this is newer than what you had.
Yeah, 97 is when I had full color. Yeah, I hung on to my 4-color one for years. I pretty much most of college. I hung on to my. I wrote all my college papers on a 4-colored laptop.
You only needed 2.
I know, right? It
You had 2 extras.
white, gray, and black. That was it. That's all I had. That was with the 4 colors. That was it. Trust me, like, dude, when I saw God bless, when I saw the internet in color, I was blown away because I only ever saw it in black and white. So
You
I'm like,
know,
wait, this comes in color?
You don't remember Ask Jeeves? He was in color.
AOL, all in black and white, man. It was all like this. This is like different. It was like somebody being colorblind and getting the glasses. I was like, wait, this all comes in color?
You've got mail.
Yeah. Who knew? Sorry, Dale. Go ahead.
wow, you know, it's just we should probably get out of here because we're embarrassing ourselves and probably boring a lot of people who
People are still listening?
are going, what are these dorks talking about?
Right. Old MacBooks, for Christ's sake. All right, Dale, wrap up your show. Go ahead.
All right, Chris, you want to take us out?
That's me. Hey, be sure to check the Cashmaniacs website at cashmaniacs.com for more on the Geo Gearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cashmaniacs.com or through the many channels of social media. Your support helps keep the Cashmaniac shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cashmaniac shows. Geo Gearheads is produced by Chris Umpenauer and Daryl Wattenberg. The show's copyright 2020 by Daryl Wattenberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with a Cashmaniac.